There exists a deep hatred between the valiant knights of Bretonnia and the undead of Mousillon, the city of the damned. Once an important part of the feudal kingdom of Bretonnia, it has since become a foul and accursed place, where the dead know no rest. It's also home to some of the most powerful cavalry to ever walk the old world. Orders of Blood Knights and the famed Knights of the Black Grail make their residence there, and today, they march to meet the Grail and questing Knights of Paravon in open battle. The Vampires of Bloodkeep and Mousillon are some of the only horse lords in Warhammer with the ability to match Grail Knights in close quarters combat, so this will be one of the few battles in which Bretonnia doesn't necessarily have a cavalry advantage. My deployment is spread across the entire map, halberds and vampire cavalry on the flanks in anticipation of the cav fight, skeleton spears and graveguard in the center backed up by my blood dragon vampire lord, and over on this flank I have Sylvanian Levy halberds, more Knights of the Black Grail, a third unit of Blood Knights, and some Hex Wraiths, which cause terror and have a very powerful charge bonus. It actually says Von Karstein Cavalry. They are Hex Wraith models, I believe, though. So looking at the Bretonnia army, we now see that they have some Holy Pilgrims with Grail Reliquae. They've got plenty of Knights of the Realm, the beautiful models of the Bretonnian Knights. In the rear, some Grail Knights, 2 HP, some of the best cavalry in all of Warhammer, deadly on the charge, 2 Trebuchets, and plenty of Peasant Bowmen, and some Halberds as well. So this battle is going to start out with the Bretonnian army unleashing its deadly Trebuchet flame balls at me, and the reason I've spread out so much, I kept my guys in thin lines and so far away from them, is I really want to stay away from the Trebuchets, but an overshot is going to get a brilliant shot into the center of one of my Black Grail Knights, take out 9 or 10 in that volley right there. Very lucky shot, but those Trebuchets are deadly. They have very fast fire rate, massive AoE, and instead of having 2 units in like in Medieval 2, the Trebuchets actually have 4 catapults. So they will rip you apart with that fast fire rate if you aren't careful. So I'm going to have to be very cautious in the way I engage with my Vampire Count army. I'm going to spread out, try to take the cav fights on the flanks, and stay away from the Trebuchets as long as possible. I got a little bit too close there and got punished for it. So the cavalry fights on the flanks will likely dictate the outcome of this battle, which is why I've invested heavily in cavalry and halberds. Graveguard halberdiers and Sylvanian Levy will screen my advance over on that side, and hopefully help me cut through the Knights of the Realm and the questing Knights. I have 4 skeleton spears moving up here in the center, backed up by 2 Graveguard swords, and basically the halberds are going to be a key component in helping me cut through all those Bretonnian Knights. Now, one-on-one, Blood Knights and Grail Knights are pretty even when they fight head-to-head, but the standard Knights of the Realm and the questing Knights will struggle against them and the Knights of the Black Grail because those both have 2 HP. Bretonnia does have more cavalry on the field though, so my halberds are going to play a big role in deciding these engagements. My center is kind of weak and will lose to those men-at-arms halberds and powerful skirmishing of the peasant longbowmen, so really I'm going to try to engage in the center last and win the fights in the flanks. Those halberds will hopefully be able to block some charges and kill a lot of Bretonnian Knights. So I'm moving up now. Blood Dragon's getting ready for their charge. Looks like they're going to be going first into some questing Knights. That will be an engagement they'll win quite handily. Questing Knights are amazing cavalry, but they are only 1 HP, which is a big deal. Their charge will only be able to get rid of that first HP off the Blood Dragons, and then they don't get too many kills afterwards. So charge coming in here. Good charge from the Blood Dragons. They have the lances, gives them a higher charge bonus, and they are going to run through those questing Knights. More Knights of the Realm moving into a flanking position to try to back them up, and my Graveguard Halberdiers moving in now to start cutting through the Knights of the Realm. Gonna get a good charge from the flank here, gonna kind of carry them into the middle of their formation, and hopefully be able to start stabbing, taking down a lot of the Knights. The Black Grail Knights are moving in, a little bit of a micro mistake here. They're getting ready to charge into the back of my own Blood Dragons, but I'm gonna notice it, pull them out, and take a charge into the Knights of the Realm that were going for a rear charge there. Downhill, straight into the Knights of the Realm. They are going to rip through those Knights of the Realm because, again, they have 2 HP and they had a downhill charge there. So I'm definitely getting the better of these cavalry engagements so far. Halberdiers backing them up will help a lot. Over on this side, it's going less well for me. The Hex Wraiths are going to have a hard time beating Knights of the Realm and Grail Knights in combat, and the Trebuchets are firing. And there's about to be a massive shot from the Trebuchet here. That's going to destroy a bunch of my Hex Wraiths and Sylvanian Levy. That's going to help him win the fight over on this side. Do have my Blood Dragons tied down with some Grail Knights over here. Like I said, very even fight. Might even go the Grail Knights' way because they got a downhill charge there. But we'll see. That fight will be going on for a very long time. High armor values, high defense values. That fight will take quite a long time. Now I have some Vampire Black Knights moving into a position here to flank. I was deciding where I wanted to put them. I could go into the back of the Cav fight, but I feel like it's going very well. I'm not going to charge into the back of the Halberdiers, which might have been a good idea here. Instead, I'm going to try to silence those Trebuchets, so I'm going to send them all the way around and try to kill those. If those Trebuchets are allowed to continue firing, they will rip through my cavalry, and certainly there's the likelihood that there's going to be some friendly fire, but I'm very worried about the kind of damage they can do. So I'm going to try to get them in there, and actually he's going to block the charge with his Holy Pilgrims. And with those Peasant Longbowmen firing in, the Black Knights are not going to have a good time there. They're more mid-tier cavalry than the Blood Dragons and the Knights of the Black Grail. So over here, I am handily winning the Cav fight. A lot of his Questing Knights and Knights of the Realm are down and out of the battle. And I'm pushing through, just trying to tie down this Trebuchet so they can't fire anymore. Done a decent job of killing a lot of their crew. But right here, the Hex Race and the Sylvanian Levy are down to their last couple of men. But that Knight of the Realm unit is also quite hurt. There might have been some friendly fire from the Trebuchets there. So on this side unit of Trebuchets, a lot of my Cav has gotten bogged down, starting to get cut down by a lot of the Men-at-Arms Halberdiers. But I do have a unit of Blood Dragon Knights free now. They're going to charge right into the Peasant Longbowmen. This is going to be brutal. Peasants versus some of the greatest warriors in the history of Warhammer. Not going to go very well for them. They're going to run from the field very scared, and I'm going to cut through about 60 of them on the charge there and then hunt them down. He's going to try to overlap with some Holy Pilgrims. That's not going to go very well for him either, especially if I can just pull out and get another charge off. Zombies are still trying to get into combat, poor guys. They're so slow. In 1.6 they actually got a speed bonus, but in this, they got nerfed back down to being very slow again, which is probably the way it should be. I don't know if they should be quite that slow. Blood Dragons getting a nice charge, flanking charge into the back of the Holy Pilgrims. And over here, Blood Dragons have gotten sandwiched between Knights of the, or Grail Knights. And now he's going to pull out and charge into my other unit. And again, some very even cavalry fights going on here. The 2 HP of both these units means they're going to tank the engagement for a very long time. Both very high charge bonuses, but their defense and their armor and their 2 HP means that very few actually die on the charge. And it is so epic to see Grail Knights and Blood Dragon Knights fighting in melee combat. It's seriously amazing. I cannot wait to see that kind of stuff in Total War Warhammer. Some of the most powerful cavalry in the history of Warhammer fighting together just makes for an awesome sight. So I started collapsing in on his infantry line now. Zombies have finally made it into combat. In fact, one of his routing Peasant Longbowmen ran directly into the clutches of those zombies, who cut them down without mercy. Don't expect mercy from the Undead. Blood Dragons chasing off the rest of those routing units over here, and things have started to look very bad for Bretonnia. The free cav, that cavalry engagement over on the right flank of Bretonnia, allowed me to collapse in with some of my most elite troops, which broke that entire flank, allowed me to get my Grave Guard and other units over here. He still has a couple Halberdiers holding out, completely surrounded by Skeleton Spearmen and Grave Guard. Just a brutal way to go, completely surrounded by the Undead. They're going to get cut down, have no hope there. Blood Dragon's getting a rear charge into some Grail Knights. Not an amazing charge, he was kind of trying to pull out, which was very smart. Might be able to get completely out of that engagement, turn around, and get a charge off. We'll see. And over here, lots of his peasants and men-at-arms running from the field. Hopefully some more of them running into the clutches of those zombies. And now it's going to be a grinded-out cav fight to the end of the battle. It's going to be really tough for Bretonnia to come back from this one. Just so many undead still left on the field. No morale penalties on them. They cannot rout, and that just means that you have to get your cavalry free, and he didn't get a lot of good charges into my infantry to get rid of those Grave Guard or get rid of those skeletons or zombies, which is a problem. It's the bulk of my force. You gotta win the cav fight if you're gonna beat the vampire counts, and if you don't win the cav fight with Bretonnia, you're probably not gonna win the battle. So Blood Dragons and the Grail Knights just fighting to the death here. See some very awesome killing animations. That red barding on the Blood Dragons looking so awesome. And the Grail Reliquary. It is interesting, actually. The Grail Knights have a banner that I believe belongs to the Drakenhof Templars or one of the other Blood Dragon orders. they basically have, or actually I think it belongs to the Knights of the Black Grail. They have this grail with blood running out of it, which is I think something that will probably get changed by the time the mod actually gets released. But currently it makes the Grail Knights look very evil. The general's going to go down here to a Blood Knight, and that's pretty much going to be the end of the battle. We'll see some cleaning up here. The Grail Knights making their last stand, but there's just no way for them to bring this battle back at this point. So what did you guys think of the Bretonnia Vampire Count siege battle we saw for Total War Warhammer? I'm going to be honest, I was completely giddy when I saw they'd be added into custom and multiplayer at launch. Darren actually also told me that we'll have the ability to pick and choose mounts for our lords and heroes in custom and multiplayer, which is something I've been wondering about for a long time, and I am so glad they added that feature. Being able to choose which mounts you have in multiplayer is awesome. And apparently, actually, Bakey's the Hippogriff for Lewin Lincourt is already in the game, so Lionheart could have chosen to bring a Hippogriff if he wanted. That would have been really cool to see. But obviously there's still some quest chains and campaign balancing and unit models that still have to be added before Bretonnia becomes playable in campaign. But were you guys happy with Bretonnia making it into the game, and are you happy with the gameplay we saw? Let me know in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle. You can see that my Blood Dragons and my Knights of the Black Grail did quite well. Obviously not a ton of kills, because a lot of the kills were on very high tier cavalry from Bretonnia. But I hope you guys enjoyed the game, and I'll be bringing you some more content soon.